Today, guys, we're going to be talking about cause and effect. Now, you might be thinking, what are cause and effect? Well, the cause is why something happened, and the effect is what happened. The cause happens first, but it doesn't always come in the first part of the sentence or the text. So there are keywords that you guys can look for to help you identify a cause and effect, which are because, since, so, if, then, before, and after. Look for those words, and they should usually help you. So, Angela was happy because she got to eat cake for dessert. Okay, so let's look at this cause and effect relationship. The cause, Angela got to eat the cake for dessert. The effect, well, that made her really happy, right? Cause and effect. Here's another way to look at it. Angela got to eat cake for dessert, so she was happy. Now the cause is actually before the effect in the sentence, but the cause and the effect are still the same, even though we changed up the order a little bit. What's that? Don't worry, that's not part of this. Okay, in a way it is. Okay, so Buster saw a UFO in the air, and then he started screaming. So notice he saw the UFO in the air. The effect, he started screaming. Okay, now let's look at it again another way. Buster started screaming since he saw a UFO in the air. So notice again, the cause is the same. He saw the UFO, the effect, he started to scream. So even with things being changed up in the order, you're still asking what happened or why did that happen. So look at this one. If Stephen takes out the trash, then he will get his allowance. So notice Stephen takes out the trash. What happens? He gets his allowance. Okay? Look at it this way. Before Stephen can get his allowance, he must take out the trash. Why does he get his allowance? Because he took out the trash. Okay, are you guys starting to see the cause and effect relationship there? All right, so some things to remember. The cause is why something happened, and the effect is what actually happened. The cause always happens first, but it doesn't always come first in the sentence or in the text. And make sure you guys are looking for those key words. If you do that, you should be pretty successful. Okay, so let's go ahead and practice now and see if you guys can figure out what's the cause and what's the effect here. Okay, so it got dark because the sun went down. So think, what ended up happening and why did it happen? Okay, go ahead and make your choice now. Okay, so if you ended up saying that the cause was that the sun went down, you're absolutely right, because that is what would cause it to get dark outside. It got dark, that's what happened. Okay, let's move on to our next one now. So, my sister was scared of the mouse, so she yelled for help. Okay, so this time I want you to think, what's the effect in this situation? What ends up happening? Go ahead and make your choice now. If you guys ended up saying that she yelled for help, you are absolutely right. What caused that? Because she was scared of a mouse. Great job. Okay, so take a look at this one. This one's pretty tricky. The dog dug a hole so that he could bury his bone. Okay, now again, I want you to think, what is the effect? Again, what happens? All right, so go ahead and take a look at that sentence and think, what is the effect? What happens? Okay, so if you said the dog dug a hole, you're absolutely right. Why? Because he thought, oh, I want to bury this bone. So what does he do? He ends up digging the hole. Great job if you guys ended up getting that one. Okay, so let's try this one. What's the cause this time? Mark was tired, so he fell asleep in class. Okay, so think, what is the why in this situation? Now me, remember, I always focus on what happened and I think, why did that happen? So what's the cause here? Okay, so if you ended up choosing Mark was tired, you're absolutely right. Why? Why did he end up falling asleep in class? Because he was tired. Great job. Okay, let's move on to the next one. So when the light said walk, the man crossed the street. Okay, so let's think what happened. all right? And that would be your effect, all right? So let's see if you guys can choose it correctly. Okay, if you guys ended up saying the effect was the man crossed the street, you're absolutely correct. Why? Because the light said walk. That's why he ended up crossing the street. Great job if you guys ended up getting that one. Okay, so our next one here. The boy was surprised when the rocker began to move. Now, I'd be pretty surprised too if that thing started to move by itself. I'd be a little worried. So I want you to tell me, what's the effect in this situation? What happens? Okay, so go ahead and try and pick your effect now. Okay, this one was really tricky actually. The effect is that the boy was surprised. Why? Because the rocker begins to move. So that was a pretty tricky one. If you got it, great job to you. Excellent job. Okay, so with this next one, it's pretty interesting. The player was angry, so he jumped on the referee. Okay, so I want you to think, what is the cause in this situation? Okay, why is this happening? All right, go ahead and make your choice now. Okay, your cause, the player was angry. That's why he ends up jumping on that referee. Great job. Now, look at this one. When the wolf left, the pig popped his head out of the can. All right, so let's focus on the effect. What happens here? All right, go ahead and make your choice now. If you ended up saying that the effect was the pig popped his head out of the can, that's correct. Why? Why did that happen? Because the wolf left. Great job, guys. Okay, so let's go ahead and move on to a different practice now. Okay, so for this next practice, you guys are going to choose the cause and the effect in the sentence that I give you. So Jim forgot his English book, so he was unable to complete his homework. What's the cause and the effect? Okay, so looking at the effect, he was unable to complete his homework. Why? Because he forgot his English book. Let's go ahead and try another one here. Jerry was hungry because he skipped lunch. What's the cause and what's the effect? Okay, so let's take a look here. The effect, he was hungry. Why? Because Jerry skipped his lunch. Okay, let's go ahead and move on to another one here. Joey's car had a flat tire, so he called a tow truck. Notice the clue word of so. Have you guys been noticing all these clue words? Okay, so let's see what they would be here. So the cause is Joey's car had a flat tire. So think to yourself, what would the effect be? What happens? He calls a tow truck to come help him out. Okay, next one. Jane couldn't find the cookies because her brother hid them in the cupboard. So what's the cause and what's the effect here? Notice the clue word of because. See how that keeps popping up? Okay, so notice what happened here, right? Jane couldn't find the cookies. Why? Because her brother hid them from her. Okay, so that's how I like to do it. I focus on that effect and then I think, why did it happen? Same thing with this next one. Sam studied her spelling words and got an A on the test. What's the cause? What's the effect? Okay, so let's focus on what happened, right? She got an A on the test. Why did she get the A? Because she studied her spelling words. Okay, great job so far, guys. Okay, so we're going to switch gears now. So I've got two clips for you to watch. One's funny, one's a little bit more on the serious side. And I want you to see if you can identify the cause and effects that happen in these short clips.
Well, the glue is spread, Tim.
Oh, is it now? Okay. Before we get to gluing, I want to introduce Binford's new Miracle Glue.
Tim, you might want to remind our viewers to be careful when using this glue because it will bond instantly to your skin.
Al, we learned in the first grade you're not supposed to play with glue.
Well, I was just worried about our viewers' welfare as well as your welfare.
Al, these negative thoughts can hurt people on the job site.
I don't have negative thoughts.
You do too.
No, I don't.
Do too.
Do not.
Do.
Not. Well, maybe it would be better if I just swept up here then.
Well, maybe it would be better if you just swept up. Mr. Negativity.
Not.
Do. You want to set your laminate securely on your shimmies front and back? We'll be right back after these messages from Binford. Al, I know you're back there.
What is this thing on your head?
It's a little piece of table.
What happened?
Oh, Mr. Negativity Al distracted me, and I got my head cemented to this table. I had to take a saber saw to get me off of that table.
Don't you think you should go to the emergency room?
I was just there. They said I wasn't a priority.
Why? Was there a guy with a whole table stuck to his head?
I don't care where we live. Just leave me alone.
Oh, that had to hurt.
No, it didn't.
Great job, guys. So that's how cause and effect works. You focus on what ended up happening and then why did that end up happening. So we're going to talk about that more tomorrow in class.